Hey everyone, welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're diving into the thrilling world of The Man with the Golden Gun, the 1974 James Bond film that saw Roger Moore return for his second outing as 007. This film is filled with exotic locations, unforgettable characters, and a one-of-a-kind golden gun. But even the biggest Bond fans might not know all the hidden stories behind the production of this action-packed adventure. So sit back and relax with a martini as we uncover 20 things you never knew about The Man with the Golden Gun. The novel holds a special place in James Bond history as the last full-length Bond story written by Ian Fleming. It was published in 1965, a year after Fleming's death. For a long time, rumours circulated that the book was incomplete when he died and had to be finished by other writers, but this was proven false. Fleming's personal letters from the time confirmed that he had completed the manuscript and submitted it to his publisher before his death. Fleming himself wasn't satisfied with the book, reportedly feeling that his writing had lost its edge. He was even considering retiring from Bond altogether. When Sean Connery first left the Bond series after You Only Live Twice, The Man with the Golden Gun was initially planned for the next Bond film. The producers, Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman, wanted to cast Roger Moore as Bond back in the 1960s, but the script was set to be filmed in Cambodia. Unfortunately, the political unrest in the country at the time, specifically the Sam Laut uprising, made filming there impossible. The film was delayed, and by the time production resumed on Her Majesty's Secret Service, Roger Moore was no longer available, leading to George Lazenby taking on the role instead. Christopher Lee, who eventually portrayed the villain Francisco Scaramanga, was actually Ian Fleming's step-cousin. The two were regular golf partners, and Fleming had long wanted Lee to play a Bond villain. In fact, Fleming had originally suggested Lee for the role of Dr. No back in 1962. However, by the time Fleming mentioned this idea to the producers, they had already cast Joseph Wiseman in the role. In Ian Fleming's original novel, Francisco Scaramanga was portrayed as a brutish American gangster, but for the film adaptation, the character was reimagined as a suave, sophisticated villain to provide a dark mirror image of Bond himself. Despite the transformation, several details from the novel remained intact, including Scaramanga's golden gun and his third nipple. One of the most iconic moments in the film is the jaw-dropping car stunt in which Bond's AMC Hornet performs a 360-degree barrel roll over a broken bridge. This stunt was initially developed as part of the Astro Spiral show at Cornell Aeronautical Laboratory in Buffalo, New York. After refining the stunt through computer simulations, the producers incorporated it into the film, licensing the stunt specifically for Bond. Stuntman Bumps Willard successfully completed the jump on the first take. BBC's Top Gear attempted to recreate the stunt not once but twice. The first attempt in 2008 failed when the car didn't land properly. Undeterred, they tried again in 2014, managing to land the jump successfully, though the landing was far rougher than the seamless execution seen in the film. The Top Gear crew later admitted that replicating the precision of the stunt was a testament to the skill of the original stuntman, Bumps Willard. If you're enjoying the video, a subscribe to the channel would be as thrilling as jumping the river. Scaramanga's weapon of choice, the Golden Gun, was designed by special effects legend John Steers. The gun was made from a collection of everyday items, including a cigarette lighter, a fountain pen, a cufflink, and a cigarette case. 3 different versions of the gun were created for the film, one solid prop, one that fired using a cap gun mechanism, and one that could be assembled and disassembled. Christopher Lee later revealed that putting the gun together on camera was incredibly tricky, and they lost many takes because the pieces wouldn't fit together properly. In a bizarre turn of events, one of the Golden Gun props was confiscated by US Customs while Lee was travelling to promote the film on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. It took several months to get the prop back, but all 3 guns eventually returned to Elstree Props in Hertfordshire, England. That is, until one of them mysteriously disappeared in 2008, with the stolen gun valued at over $100,000. Hervé Villechaize, who played the diminutive henchman Knick-Knack, became a scene stealer in the film. However, Moore reportedly wasn't a fan of his co-star. Moore later described him as a diseased sex maniac with unnatural lust, claiming Villechaize bragged about sleeping with dozens of women during the production. Unfortunately, his personal life was marred by health and relationship issues, and he tragically committed suicide in 1993. The relationship between co-producers Harry Saltzman and Albert R. Broccoli had been deteriorating for years, and by the time they worked on The Man with the Golden Gun, tensions were high. Roger Moore noted that most of their arguments happened behind closed doors, but some of their disagreements spilled into public view. One of the more notorious disputes was over Saltzman's insistence on including an elephant stampede in the movie. He wanted Bond and Scaramanga to chase each other on elephant back, but Broccoli and the rest of the creative team were adamantly against the idea. Despite this, Saltzman ordered 2,600 pairs of shoes for the elephants. The sequence was ultimately scrapped. This meant the film would be the last Bond film produced by Harry Saltzman. Due to financial difficulties, he sold his 50% share in Eon Productions to United Artists shortly after the film's release. This not only marked the end of Saltzman's involvement with the Bond series, but also delayed production of the next Bond film, The Spy Who Loved Me, for 3 years due to legal complications. Poor box office returns and a deteriorating relationship between Saltzman and Broccoli almost brought the end to the Bond franchise. The film grossed under $98 million, making it one of the least profitable Bond films at the time. Coupled with the producer's public disputes, there were serious concerns that the series would be over for good. Fortunately, the series was revived 3 years later. Legendary rocker Alice Cooper wrote a song titled The Man with the Golden Gun, hoping it would be used as the film's theme. However, the producers decided to go with a track performed by Lulu instead. Cooper later included the rejected song on his Muscle of Love album. Despite being passed over for the theme, it was widely believed by Bond insiders that Lulu's theme song was one of the weakest in the series. Maud Adams made her first appearance in the Bond franchise as Andrea Anders, Scaramanga's mistress. This would be the first of 3 Bond films she appeared in. She went on to play the title role in Octopussy in 1983 and had a brief cameo in A View to a Kill in 1985. The film's original director of photography, Ted Moore, had been a regular contributor to the Bond series, having worked on Dr. No, Goldfinger and several others. However, midway through this production, Moore walked off the set. Reports vary as to why, with some suggesting it was due to health problems, while others believe it was the result of creative differences with the producers. Moore was replaced by Oswald Morris, a highly respected cinematographer who had worked on films like Oliver and Fiddler on the Roof. Roger Moore's version of Bond was known for being more charming and light-hearted compared to Sean Connery's. That's why Moore was uncomfortable with certain violent scenes. He particularly objected to the scene where Bond slaps Andrea to get more information. Moore argued that Bond should rely on his charm rather than physical force. The Man with the Golden Gun has the lowest body count of any Bond film. Only 6 people die throughout the movie, and James Bond himself is responsible for just one of them, Scaramanga. This contrasts sharply with the follow-up film The Spy Who Loved Me, which has a much higher body count of 147. Mark Lawrence, who plays Scaramanga's first victim in the film's opening scene, is no stranger to the Bond franchise. He also appeared in Diamonds Are Forever as a gangster. Some fans even speculate that Lawrence is playing the same character in both films, making him one of the few villains to appear more than once in the series. Roger Moore had his share of mishaps while filming, particularly during the boat chase scene through the Tai Klongs, that's canals to you and me. Moore fell into the water twice during filming. The first time was deliberate, as Moore had been warned not to do so and couldn't resist going against the advice. However, the second time was an accident, and Moore later recounted that he made the mistake of opening his eyes underwater. To his horror, he saw what local undertakers did with the bodies of the unfortunate. The stunning island that served as the location for Scaramanga's hideout is now a major tourist attraction in Thailand. Known as Khao Ping Khan, the island became so famous after the film's release that it's commonly referred to as James Bond Island. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about the man with the golden gun. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did, as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.